WhatsApp and let them fool you. Thank you for letting me here talk to you about my story. I was born and raised in South Vietnam. And I was on the Air Force. They sent me to Kisler to train to be a pilot in 1970. When I finished my pilot class, the liaison officer asked me to come to his office to pick up what aircraft we fly. And he said, we have 8 C-123. That's the first time it happened to my Air Force. And 4 A-37 fighter aircraft, and then so on. So he asked me, because I'm the first one to get called in. And he asked me, Khiem, what aircraft you pick after you get the pilot license here? I say 123 cargo. So every people think I will pick up A-36 fighter aircraft, but not me. I chose the transport. And then I go back to my class. The instructor who taught me how to fly, he asked me, hey Khiem, what aircraft you pick? I say 123. So he slammed it. I say, God damn it. I want all my students to be fighter pilots. And you pick up there to become a garbage truck driver. Being a cargo airplane, you know. Okay, that cargo airplane saved my family later on. So what happened to me when I went back to Vietnam, I flown the cargo airplane for 4.5 years. And I get shot a lot to my airplane. So they hold my airplane, but I still survived. Then what happened to the end of the 20-year-old war had to be ended somehow. And I am the one to flown the most of evacuation from in country, from the hostile area to the safe area. I flown, I remember in March 14, I flown whole night from Central Island to carry its people, the family, to the coastal area. The Air Force Base there is safer for them. So I flown 3 trips back and forth 3 times a night. And I witnessed a lot of chaos happen when people want to secure the seat. Because the minute you open the door, you offload the cargo, people rush to the airplane and look for the good seat. Their parents, their children, their family, and uncontrollable. So when the aircraft full, you just close the ram door and taxi out and take off. Now, I remember the most flight that I remember in my flight time during the war is on the night of April, 27th of March, 1975. I flown from Saigon is the main city there, Air Force Base there, to Da Nang, a 2-hour way to carry helicopter blade to replace what part they need out there. And take 100 refugees back to Saigon. Then after I landed at about 5 o'clock, 5 or 6 o'clock, the loadmaster opened the cargo ram of C-130, and I saw about 80 people stand the ground. And I tell them, you want to go back to your society? Yeah. So I tell them, okay, that's okay. I can take all of you inside. After I upload this cargo blade. So the people on the ground had to forfeit to take all the cargo off the airplane, and the ram is low to the ground. Just like this. 100 by 100 people rushed into my airplane. Uncontrollable. People looking for seat, and they fight each other, and I look at that and say, if this happened to my hometown, I have no way to take my family out. Because my parents are Christian, and I have two children. My daughter is 2 years old, and my son down there, 4.5 months old. And my parents, my brother, sister, the family, and they have no way to fight just like I saw it happen. Okay? So after the loading complete, we crank the engine and taxi out to take off. I hear in my earphone the loadmaster in the rear say, "Lieutenant, I cannot close the ram door because there are a lot of people on it." So I say, "Okay." So I slam the brake. We've been taxiing, we slam the brake. That push people forward. Because I don't know how many hundred down there in the back of the cargo area. And I think I do that 3 times. I slam 3 times. Finally, the loadmaster said, "I can close the door now." I thought it was safe to keep going to the end runway for takeoff. But by the end of the runway, I saw the 5-ton truck with the military police stand in the hood and pointed F-16 to my cockpit. And it's dark. He wanted me to stop the aircraft so he can load his family into my airplane. Even I stop or I open the window, no way they can get in there because 4 people are already. So because it's dark, so I turn the light on the cockpit and I do sign language because the aircraft 4 engine running is so noisy. I cannot talk directly to him, so I use my sign language. I say, "Okay, move back. Let me go down there." I turn around, and you get in. He understands. Looks like it. So he backed up his truck. Maybe in his truck, maybe 20 or 40 member of family or friend in there. So I keep taxiing and line up with the runway. I take off. Left him behind. I know he may get mad a lot, but we take off. And then 2 hours later, I land in Tanzania, to my home base, and I go to the rear of the aircraft, see uploading. So they have about 8 trucks. So each truck loads 50 people, and they took off to the terminal. And I stand there and count 7 trucks with 4 people. That means I already carry 350 people on my airplane for that night. The aircraft allowed to carry 100. And you may ask me, how they fit? Well, the video people, their frame is small like this, so they will fit. They stand thing, and I slam the brakes, so push them forward. That will fit them. So I get 350 on the flight. Never happened before. I carry 100 the most, but now it's 350. Now, the war had to be ended some way. We're still fighting. My country lost 3/3 of the country already. 1/3 will be happening next. So I had a quick thinking how I can take my family out safely without fighting, just like I saw a couple of days early. So on April 3rd, but before that, I already planned to stealing one of the SEALs from my squadron to take my family out, but I don't know how. So I talked to a friend of mine, he is Major different sister squadron, and he and me say, hey, we have to get out of here as quick as we can. Because if we stay back, we get captured, we get thrown into re-education camp, maybe get killed or whatever happened. I don't want to see that happen to my family. So you want to go along with me, say, you take your family, I take my family. We secretly get out together, say, yeah, that's fine. So on April 3rd, I was in the list of number one list for standby to fly bombing someplace somewhere in the country. But I tell my officer that I get sick, so I'm gonna fly. So he put me in bottom, that means I never fly at all. And then suddenly about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a friend of mine said, hey Khiem, I have a mission. I said, that's fine. What time they take off? They say, 3 o'clock. That's fine, okay. And your squadron, yeah, right? I will run over there and try to do something. And then he called me back saying, the aircraft on my squadron is broken. So my squad had already called your squadron to borrow one of the aircraft from your squadron. They say, what aircraft? Say, I know the tail code is 460. Okay, I know what aircraft is. So I run to the aircraft real quick. And nobody there. Now the cargo from the airplane, the other squadron will travel to my squadron, take about 45 minutes to upload and unload. So I run to my aircraft, the aircraft of my squadron, and I jump in the cockpit. And the first thing I flip the switch. I saw fuel is full of fuel. At that time, the Air Force headquarters know that some crazy pilot will stolen the airplane, get out of the country. So they ordered the fuel no more than 1 hour. That means 12,000 pound fuel. Either to go out half hour and come back. Because Vietnam, they lost two-thirds of the country, so they don't go any further except there's a local airport nearby. But my aircraft is full of fuel, good for 7-hour flight. You know what? The minute I flip the switch, I turn around, the fuel is standing behind my back. Say, Lieutenant, I take smoke break out there, I forgot to turn off the fuel. Now it's full. Can I refuel? I said, no, don't refuel. But don't ever do it again, okay? So I get full fuel, I get 7-hour flight. Now, after that, at 3 o'clock, I already tell my family that met me at the remote airport, like 16 miles from the city. I know that airport because I would, during war, I do the training, take-off landing at that airstrip before. That airstrip before belonged to U.S. Army, but after 1973, the American people withdrew from Vietnam. The aircraft, they withdrew everything, but the runway is still there in good shape. So I tell them to go out there and meet me out there. Now look, how do I know that we will go out there on time? I don't know how many people in my family will travel with me that day. I just know my wife and 2 kids and my in-law and 2 brothers that I know of. But my family have, this is my family, 5 boys, 5 girls, okay? Me in the left side, 15 years old at that time. And my brother also Air Force. And my youngest also Air Force. We have 3 pilots in my family, okay? And this is 30 years later, we took the same picture in California. It's 1 week before my father passed away. And this is my oldest brother. He trained in the U.S. Air Force in 1965. He go home and fly A-37 fighter pilot. And this is me in 1970. And I was solo in April 20 of 1970. That's the day I solo. This is me for pilot training in Kisler, dumb and dumb still. All right, and then the load come to the airplane, and the captain, the major, they show up because he's the airplane, so he would take the flight. I am not any part of his flight, but I show up at the cockpit anyway. And his co-pilot show up, the flight engineer show up, the loadmaster show up. So this is how it works. In airport, we can jump in the cockpit and hit the drive, go somewhere. It's normal. But if you sit there and be pilot, maybe different story. But a co-pilot friend of mine, same classmate, same thing. So I told him, hey, this flight only takes 20 minutes. Why don't you let me fly? You go home and have fun. He was happy and yes, he fly back and jump out there, but it took off, go home right away. The difference is the flight engineer look at me. I'm not belong to the squadron, how can I fly? That is only the difference. But if 20-minute flight and I fly with a friend of mine like this, you know, it's okay. So he's okay. But this is what happened. When I show up the aircraft, say 3 o'clock, it takes my family together to get to that airstrip. It maybe 45 minutes they can do. They could go to city and go to small road in the country. It takes a long time. So I say, if we take off now, I go to that airstrip. I cannot land there and shut down or wait for them for an hour. So I delay the takeoff time at my main base by go out to the bottom of the circuit breaker and I pull out the circuit breaker. That circuit breaker is belong to APU. That means auxiliary power unit. They need that to start the airplane by air. Okay, they use air to crank the engine. Now the flight engineer show up and try to start that APU. It won't start because I already pulled circuit breaker. But that circuit breaker very seldom to pull. Only people when they maintain an aircraft they pull. Otherwise, never by itself pop up. So he look around. He say, "What the heck? I've flown this aircraft all the time. How can I start the engine? Fuel, electric there, but I start saying open the book and he look in there. About 15 minutes, and he looked out to see the circuit breaker pop up. So he pushed back in. It worked. The APU is worked. And we crank the engine, taxi out. So this is, I tell you, the pilot, either in airline or airport, same thing. We have the checklist to read item by item what we do before we start the engine, before we taxi out, during taxi out, before takeoff. That the checklist tell you. We do this all the time. I do my memory, but at that time I open my checklist and read line by line, word by word, never miss anything. We used to do that in my memory, but now I do that. You know why? To delay the takeoff time. Take too long to get out to the runway. By the time I get out to the runway, the major look at me and say, "Everything okay here? Yeah, we can take off now." And we take off, and it takes 10 minutes to go to that airfield close to the. That I expect my family will be there to map me, but it's not. I get there. I flew 2,000 feet above the ground and looked down. I don't see a soul. Just a little strip. So I tell a friend of mine, say, "Why don't we make another circle?" And after we make the third circle, I saw the 5 small cars moving in from the freeway to that third strip. So I tell a friend of mine, "We can land now." So we land from the east to the west, and we turn around. Now, the loadmaster is the one in the back to take care of the cargo. he upload his duty. And I tell him that, Sergeant, can you upload all the cargo for me? He say, yes, sir. And there's a checklist to upload the cargo. So he said, he's supposed to ask me, Lieutenant, this cargo is supposed to go to the Air Force Base, cannot be uploaded here. But when I asked him, he never asked this question. He opened the checklist, they say A, B, C, D, and say, checklist complete. Move forward, so we move a little forward. That means when he he took all the safety pin on the floor. So when we move forward, the 20,000 pounds will be slowly drop to the ground. And I already told my family, to my brother, say, if you see the aircraft open the cargo door, just run to the cargo ramp and go to inside the aircraft and take a seat. Now, my family, they never been in C-130. They don't know how C-130 look like. The 4 engine is running, it's very noisy, and the heat blow, even the idle still blow the heat and the wind to them, so they have hard time to walk from the car to the cargo area. But finally, they all load. Now, during we stop at the airfield there was the military post stay outside the end of the other runway, and they saw C-130 coming. So I sit in the cockpit and looked to the ground. I saw about 5 soldiers with the Jeep on the runway opposite my aircraft. But because the 4 engine running, they cannot go close by, so they park aside of the aircraft in the left side, on the tail of the aircraft, maybe about 50 yards. Now, at that time, I hear the microphone in the cockpit, and I said, gentlemen, this aircraft will not go back to Saigon anymore. Anyone want to stay, go with me, stay here. Anyone want to leave now. So the chief loadmaster is unplug his headset and run toward that Jeep, just stop there. The second loadmaster is the first time on C-130, in there for training. So the loadmaster, the main thing is to train this guy. This guy first time up in the airplane, he didn't know what's going on. Now, I still sit in the cockpit. I saw the flight engineer sit next by me. He unplugged his headset, he took it back and walked out the airplane. He could twist that. And he turned around, he put his headset on, he said, I go with you. Great. Then I unplugged my seatbelt and went to the rear to see what's going on. My family already on board. The last minute is, I don't witness, but my sister-in-law said, when loading, my daughter, 2 years old, somehow jumped in the roller of the cargo ramp, and people pushed her so she faced upward to the roller in blood over her face. And my wife saw that she fell down and dropped feet in the ground. My 4 months on the ground. At that time, the aircraft already moved forward. So people pulled my wife up, and my sister-in-law jumped on the ground real quick, hold feet and run to the aircraft. Aircraft, they slowly move forward. And I hold the switch to close the ramp door. Now the loadmaster, the second one, he still stand on the rear of the ramp, look for his teacher, instructor. But I already lift the ramp up. So I don't have set, so I call him back. So he come up and hold the switch. I went too fast to the cockpit, put the seatbelt on, aircraft on the airborne. I just enough time to raise the gear. Now, the major who go with me, he didn't know anything. He didn't know where we're going in. He don't have his family either, just by himself. Later on, I find out that when we're planning 4 days early, I bring my family, he bring his family. But finally, he didn't bring nobody. He just by himself. Later on, I learned that he intend not to bring anyone because he have a 2 wives. So he don't know which one to bring. Okay? So we check out, and because the avoid radar, so we drop to the top of the tree for 1 hour flight on the cheap property until we reach the ocean, and we dropped down to sea level, and I've flown sea level for maybe 1 hour. And I already set up all the waypoint where we fly, but this major didn't know where we're going, so I tell him just follow that number already loaded on the computer. So you just follow that flight and go to Singapore. So we fly too low to the ocean. I tell you this, if anyone can open the door and put the hand down, they can touch water. That's how low we fly. Later on, I learned this. The people, my family, I don't know how many, sit there. They say sometimes they cannot, because the aircraft had 20 seats each side, military seat outside, just well, just enough for you to sit down. And sometimes it may be 8 foot away, but they cannot see it because we fly too low. The air conditioning system sucks too much air to the engine and create a heavy fog inside the cargo van. So they cannot see it. An hour later, we climb up to 15,000 feet. And I tell my people that we are in international weather now. We okay, we safe now. And the fog is start to dissipate, and they can see the other. During cruise 15,000 feet, I tell my friend that keep that direction and go another 120 miles and then we'll return. And then I take my seatbelt up and run to the back to see how many people in back there. I don't know how many. Final, when we land in Singapore, I know that total is include 3 crew members. 53 is my family, including me, and 53 my family. I looked around and, my family, none of them be inside the C-130 before. And then that happened so fast. They're so scared. They didn't know what's going on. Why we in the ground now, an hour later we on the aircraft, we fly out of the country like this. Special, I look at my father. He is the preacher, he is a pastor at the church. I look at him, he's so proud and scared. Because I can read his mind. He say, oh, I and my son committed a crime by stealing the airplane from the airport. So I think he thinks that way. So everybody don't look very happy. Everybody's scared. I go to my wife, whole feed, my son, and she is very scared and pale. So I took the oxygen bottle. I pressed it to her face so she can have some oxygen. But she pushed it down. She get pushed away. I don't understand at the time. Later on, when I asked her why on the airplane I want to give you some oxygen to breathe to make you feel better. Why don't you push? She said this. When you fly the airplane, you told me your aircraft carry dead people and smell so bad in the airplane. So if you put it in my mouth, I afraid germ will go in my face. You know. When I fly again out of Vietnam, the Air Force headquarters never know the visit one aircraft because this happened so fast and so quick and fly sea level, nobody know what's going on. Because when I took off from my main base, when any aircraft you took off, you're supposed to have transponder. That means they send the signal to the ground to tell you who you are and where you're flying. But during takeoff at the main base, I turn off all transponder, all the radio, so it don't bother my ear. And headquarters didn't know the aircraft just take off. Because I turn up all the signals from the aircraft. So they don't know. They don't know where we're going. And then an hour later, we on the sea, I don't think they already know. So finally, we land in Singapore 2 hours, 10 minutes later at dark. So I asked Singapore tower to, I called tower, Singapore, this is 3460 request landing instruction. Just like I call in my hometown. And this is what they tell me. 3460, you clear runway 02 wind from the north at 5 mile, temperature is 74 degrees. Exactly what I call the country tower tell me exactly the same. They don't ask me, who the hell are you? What you doing here in my country? They just said, Husky 460, you clear runway 02, exactly what I hear in my home country. So I landed and contact ground control, and they tell me, you go to the block C. I look at my chart, okay, we land there. And the thing that bothered me until to this day, after I landed, the engine's still running. No, we shut off the engine, but we had the APU run electric. After we do that, I saw two ground people came and pulled the power plug from the MD3. MD3 for the Air Force aircraft only, not for civilian. But we are civilians landed, we are military landed at the civilian airport. How do they know we are Air Force come in and they already power supply already there? And two guys know where to plug that power to my airplane. After they do that, we have to shut down the APU and he just do this and then walk away. Now, we land in foreign country. So I change my civilian clothes like this, no flight suit, and then me and my friend Major and my brother, we walk into the tower to report to them that we are illegal refugee or whatever, illegal immigrant, whatever it is. So I walk to the tower, I go to the terminal, and I saw a lot of custom to check in. People came from the Pham, from US or somebody. So I bypass them, I go up to the security room. I saw so many black and white TV around, so they can go into the airport and check around. And there was one guy sit there and read the newspaper, and I knocked the door and say, hey, sir, we want to talk to you. Say, he didn't ask me, so what you can do in here? This is the secret. This is off-duty security area. How come you get it here? You know. So I tell him that we are entering your airspace illegal. We want to report to your authority. So if your boss around here, will talk to him. He looked around and said, oh, this office works from 9 to 5. So if you want to see my boss, why don't you go out the gate and rent the hotel, stay there. Tomorrow, 9 o'clock, come here to see my boss. Because this had never happened to their country before. So, okay, but I tell them, we are illegal entering your country, so we need to talk to your authority, your boss. He said, okay, let me see. So we left his office and then go back to the airplane. Now, when I go back to the airplane, I saw my people sing the hymn song because we all Christian. They're so happy. And I walked to the rear of the airplane. I saw 3-4 pallets of food and drink or sit in the pilot of my airplane. They say, what's going on here? They say, oh, why you guys go up there? The airline people come down there and saw we are so hungry, so they either forfeit to put all the leftover food from the airline for us to use. So we get fat right away. The minute we land there, we get fat right away. You know? Now, 1 in the morning, 10 police cars show up, surrounding my airplane. And they asked me, first question he asked me, are you hijacked this aircraft? I said, no, I am the one who flown this aircraft, not hijacked. Then he say, this has never happened in my country. It's hard for me to decide. I asked them that we want to seek political asylum to this country. And you accept it? I say, the only person can allow you is Prime Minister, but he away to overseas for 2 weeks. He don't come back in 2 weeks, so we had to make the quick decision. Why don't you let my country go somewhere else? Say, that's okay, I go to Australia, 6 hours away from here. But I need fuel, because I already burned 3 hours fuel already. And the flight to Australia is 6.5 hours. So can you fuel my aircraft? Say, yeah, you can fuel, but you have to pay. But in my flight time in the airport, I go in the airport, I tell how much fuel I need, the fuel, and sign and go. But now you have to pay. I said, we have the money. So I go to the aircraft and tell my people that they asked me to pay the fuel to go to Australia. Anyone any money? None. So I take my cycle watch, go, put my bag and go around, the ring or whatever jewelry to put in there. So I take it out to the guy in the ground and say, we don't have money, but this is maybe worth money, 5,000. He said, no. We take US dollar only, no junk. So finally we can go nowhere. Finally, 2 hours later, they had a meeting, they come back, so, okay, we let you temporarily stay here. So we go, so they have the bus, two bus to carry a prisoner, show up, and we all load in the bus. And they drove us 2 hours away from the airport and drop it at the rehab center, something like that. They have no bed, it's just like this. And they give it a mat. Everybody get a mat, and then we just sleep on the floor. And about 4 in the morning, they wake us up, say, wake up, we need to feed you. We forgot to feed you when you was here, but now we feed you. And we tell them, thank you, we ate the airplane, so we're okay now. Because they're going to give us jail food anyway, so we don't eat. So today, we eat jail food. The third day, the chief of the prison show up. And he said this, from this day on, you guys will not eat jail food anymore. Any food you want, let me know. I will let you go out to the market, buy it, bring it here. All the women go to the kitchen and cook. Okay? So, how that happen? 2 days we eat jail food, now third day we don't eat jail food no more. In the morning we have egg and bread. And then when we cook, we have all kind of food, not fancy one, but it's better than jail food, you know. Later on, I find out like this, because we are Christian, my father is a pastor, and we have 2 more pastors in my flight. And the day I left Vietnam, April 3rd, 1975, the American Missionary Alliance, he is like a boss for all the American pastors in Vietnam. He called to New York. He said, there is one C-130 left Vietnam this afternoon and flew to Singapore. They may get trouble there. Can you guys in New York do something to save their life? The call direct to the person named Pendale. He is the pastor, Pendale. He is the president of Work Relief. Okay? 1970, I was trained in Columbus. I stay at his house every weekend to eat American food. His wife cooked, but his wife in Vietnam before she cooked Vietnamese food for us. So he know me well. The minute he say C-130, he slammed, should be Khiem. That's me. You know what? He immediately sent to Singapore 20,000 US dollars. 20 at that time, 1975. It's a big money. 10,000 to his lawyer he knows. Tell the lawyer that you fight. Don't let your government send this group of people back to Vietnam. Now, the 10,000 he sent to the businessman he knows. Feed the people well. He in prison right now. That's why the third day we have food to eat decent, not jail food. Okay, so we stay there 21 days. Then U.S. government came and took it out, and we stay in refugee camp in California for 2 weeks, and we get sponsored by different church. My parent-in-law sponsored the church in Dayton, Ohio. I was, and my wife too, get sponsored by the church in San Diego. My parent and my brother, sister all over the country. One in Chicago, one in Arkansas, and then one in Illinois. And then that's how it worked. And then people ask me, why you end up in Dayton? Yeah, because my in-law was there. My wife is the only daughter they have, and besides with 2 grandchildren. So they asked us to move to Dayton, July 75. One of them here, no, it's hot here. Yes, it's hot in Ohio, July. 2 years later, they moved back to California because they can stand in snow in Ohio. And we stuck because my wife worked for Khiem, and I started to work for the flight company in Dayton. That's why we end up there. And then later on, I applied to fly for American Airlines. So I retired with American Airlines in 2006, because the pilot can fly over 60. But now the airline can fly 65. And then they forced to retire at 65. But at my time it's 60. But I lucky to be out. The day I solo, the day I get my wing. So this time they tell me, the captain told me to become a fighter pilot. No car, no government inside in car. Okay, this is my class. And all the red, that means they all dead during the war. They shot down, and the green is me. I phoned at Columbus, October 70. Okay, I met Pastor Pendale. And my classmate, he get killed a year later. when they went back home. The guy in the red, and I met him back in date 2002. Now, he taller than me, okay? 50 years later, he's shorter than me. So this is, when I went back to Vietnam, I flew this aircraft for 2 years. My third flight with American instructor, we carry 60 bullet head of 175 high explosive to carry from main Air Force Base to the remote area in the jungle somewhere. And somehow I make a landing. He let me land. I'm not supposed to not, because I brand new pilot get out of the Air Force and come back for 2 weeks later. I just knew. But he saw I fly with him a couple of days early. He said, "Oh, Khiem fly good, so he can land this airport 3,000 foot long dirt strip." Then somehow I cut the power so fast, the aircraft sank down and broke the main wheel. See, the wheel go back to the belly. Never happened before. So the American instructor take all the blame. He said if he tell me, then Air Force may reject me right away because I'm bad boy, you know. It's me, 23 years old, and I work for airline. January 30, 1991. I make another hard landing on Boeing at Washington, D.C. Didn't kill nobody, but very hard landing. This is me, too young. That aircraft I flown in the Air Force. And this is the last picture, color, airplane I took in Vietnam, January 75, and I left Vietnam April. This, we land here, we turn around, come here, turn around, and upload here. My people come here, run toward the tail of the airplane, and we took off to the east. It takes, from the time I land, upload the cargo, load people, took off 7 minutes. That's how low we fly over the ocean. And this is the feet and the wife, my wife that carry him. The oldest lady on the trip is that lady next there. She is 76 years old. She's younger than me right now. I only younger than President Trump 3 months. So Trump was born in September 46. I was in December 76. So Trump is older than me 3 months. Then I first came here. My job is work for the airport, few small aircraft, clean the toilet, take the trash out every day. That's my job. 4 months later, I flew C-130. Remember? 4 months later, that week. Then I make my way up. I solo and small aircraft. I make so many solo. I solo when with Air Force basic aircraft. I solo when I graduate, and 5 years later, I go back to solo small airplane to get American pilot license. And I fly big aircraft. I work for UPS for 3 years. 727 fly San Francisco, New York, 4 nights a week. How boring to fly at night, you know. And I work for people, and 5 days, sleep night. Have a flight attendant feed you every half hour. Coffee, tea, or me, or Anthony, you know. No, not me. Okay, this is actual aircraft I took out April 3rd, 1975. This is the one. I took the picture by accident a year early, April 34. The Air Force, when I landed, U.S. Air Force took it back and flown with National Guard in this country for a couple of years. They repaint the aircraft, they changed to 4 propeller. The original A with three blade model. They changed it. 460 still there. Now, when this aircraft retired, the Smithsonian know I am the one who flown the first aircraft out of Vietnam after the war. So they took the aircraft and supposed to be displayed at Washington, D.C. Smithsonian. Remember they took it back? So I request, number one, please repaint back to original aircraft that took it out. They say, okay. Number two, the aircraft had flown on 3 blade. The Air Force put 4 blade, I want back to 3. They say, okay, here is the 3 blade, they put it back. And you have to paint exactly what, so they say, oh, okay, this 10 years later, the Air Force asked me to reuse with the same airplane 460 that I took it out. So Steve is out there, 50 now, but at that time he only 10. The Air Force welcomed me there. And this is me with my oldest daughter. She's only 11 months old in Vietnam. And 10 years later, and 45 years later, me and her, and 50 years later, in last year, she is now 53 now, 460 aircraft. They repaint back to normal color. And this is my family. I have a Pham back there, and my 2 daughters one in Ohio, one in Greenville, South Carolina.
And your wife right here too.
And this is the aircraft. Right now it sits at Air War Museum in Geneseo, New York. So they paint back to my tailboat and Vietnamese flag. Like I said before, this aircraft sits there every year on July at the air show. And aircraft sit maybe half mile or quarter mile from the main event. And they tell me that maybe 100 or less than came to see this aircraft. So I tell the museum director that you wrote the note. You tell them the pilot who flew the aircraft is here today at the aircraft and give the announcement at the air show. Half hour later, 100 by 100 people on the line and see my airplane. So now every year I was there, they do the same thing. So this is my wife, pointed at 460. And my granddaughter, she down there. She's and my grandson. We have nine grandchildren. And they have the party for me, 50 years. That's a 50 year they have the party for us. They invite us up there and they have the party for us. They make the cake for History 5 of 460 to welcome us back. And this is my flight suit. Lost in April 3rd when I left Singapore. And found March 30, 2035, I found it back. Brand new, still in good shape. This is how it works. When I left the aircraft in Singapore, there was the Air Force colonel came and claimed the airplane. He go to the cockpit, he saw my flight suit. So he go home and tell his wife to dry clean it and put the plastic back. He said, this is a souvenir of the war, I would keep one. Now, 2010, before that, that person died in California. So his wife tell his son, go to garage, clean up, throw all the trash. I sell this house. So his son, at that time, he is 14 years old in Singapore. So he said, I remember my dad bring this flight suit back from Singapore. Maybe the pilot is still maybe in US. Why don't we go to the website and look for him? So he go to website, and the Dayton Daily News came interview me and put the website. He accidentally go to that website. He saw my name, so he emailed to the newspaper Date, tell that I found the flight suit of the pilot who flown that aircraft out. I want to get back to him. So the newspaper sent forward email to me. I contact the guy. So 24 hours later, he sent express to me. I got this flight suit back. This flight suit now sit in the museum too, with my airplane. This is what when we first came to California. He is now 8 months old, right? 8 months old, yeah. He sit back there. And we have another daughter in Dayton. And this is my family in '87. And now we've 9 grandchildren. So garden is the toilet right here. It's here. Okay, so the aircraft is right now displayed at the museum in New York. I finished my talking here unless you have any questions. If I get caught, I go to jail. Back in 51 years ago. 2 more try after me. By hiring in people, they all get caught. Just only me successful. Any questions? Yeah.
What signs did you know that it was time to leave? What told you it was time to leave?
Oh, the framing is I tell myself. The aircraft, the country, they lost 2/3 of the country under communist. One more 100 miles from 100 miles. They move another 100 miles. By anyway, I have to leave the country to my own thinking, not by the Air Force. By the end of when the war ended in April 3rd, 1945. They took 6 more C-130 out of Vietnam, and all of that 4 people. But before that, from the day I took to the end, is 27 days, 2 more attempts. I do at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They do at 3 in the morning. They both get caught and thrown in jail. But finally, they get out. They here in this in U.S. too. So anytime they look at me, they say, "Oh, how come Lieutenant can do it? It's a good job. I am prone and couldn't do anything. I couldn't do anything." You know. So I was lucky. God above take care of me. So everything, every step I go forward, no problem, no hard thing happened to me from the time I take the aircraft to the time I land in Singapore. Everything goes smoothly. Until today, 2026. Everything is still good to me. Good Lord will take care of me and my family. Okay, any questions? Tonight I tell all, so you don't have any questions. All right, thank you very much for listening to my story.
That's it.